In this microlecture, we will be reviewing some key concepts from the Royce, Thayer, and Paget textbook about research and evaluation in social work. A general overview of what will be covered in this video. First, we'll talk about the relationship between practice evaluation and program evaluation in social work. Then we'll talk about the why behind program evaluation. Why is it important for us to evaluate programs? And then we'll talk about the differences between research and evaluation, and then different types of scientific inquiry, which includes both basic research and program evaluation. In social work, it is important for us as clinicians to continuously evaluate our practice. We do this to answer questions about our effectiveness. Are we helping our clients? Are we doing the things that we are setting out to do? And we can do this on an individual level as an individual clinician. And this is what we tend to think of when we say practice evaluation. And then on a bigger level, as an agency of many social workers or different types of providers, are we meeting our goals as a program and as an agency? That is what we tend to think of for program evaluation. So these things also are related to the evidence-based practice cycle. So we need evidence to inform our practice intervention. So before we actually decide on an appropriate intervention to use with the client, we go to the literature to see what has been researched in the past. What do we know about that intervention? And so that informs our social work practice intervention. And then the practice intervention again informs our evidence to evaluate and to modify the practice intervention. So after we engage in practice, we learn from that about what worked and what didn't, and then we evaluate it. And so this is how our program evaluation and research are connected. So your book talks about several reasons why program evaluation is important, and the most obvious reason is that we want to help our clients, and it's ethical to evaluate our practice and to ensure that we are doing things that are helpful and not harmful. There also are practical reasons for program evaluation, and one of those is funding. So for any grant-funded initiative, funders ask for a program evaluation. And most program evaluations in an agency setting are driven by funders' wishes. As we go through this course, we'll be talking about two major federal agencies that have developed resources for their grantees on evaluation. One is the Centers for Disease Control and Prevention, the CDC, and the other is the Corporation for National and Community Service. The CNCS is the agency that oversees AmeriCorps programs. This is something that we'll talk more about in week 2 and when we talk about your program evaluation plan project. So you'll see, I'm going to click on this. The CDC, they have a whole part of their website that is dedicated to resources on program evaluation. They have a whole office that is devoted to this. The same with the National Service Organization. So, in your lecture guide, you will find these links, and I encourage you to explore them. We will be revisiting these websites pretty often in the course, especially whenever we're working on your program evaluation project. All right. So, another important concept to address is what's the difference between research and evaluation? And there are some differences between research and evaluation, even though the methods and the analyses that we use are the same. So if you look at this image, it gives us a good description of this. So if you look in the middle, this is where research and evaluation come together, where they're similar is the methods and analysis. So in both research and evaluation, we may use focus groups, we may conduct interviews, we may administer a survey. But what makes it different is the purpose and the outcome, what we're going to do with the knowledge that we gain. So in research, the goal is to generate new knowledge. It's usually researcher focused, so it is a hypothesis that the researcher comes up with. And then based on what they find out, they make research recommendations and publish their results. Evaluation has a more practical purpose. So the information that we're looking for is to make decisions. It's stakeholder focused, so it's not just the researcher who is making decisions or is important, but there are other people who have an interest in the question. So, for example, in an agency setting, when we're evaluating a program, the clients could be stakeholders, our funders could be stakeholders, our clinicians are stakeholders, the supervisors are stakeholders. And they're all stakeholders who might have different perspectives on things and may have different goals for the evaluation. Instead of hypotheses, we come up with more broad key questions, and then we make recommendations based on those questions. Then, instead of publishing results, usually it's a report to stakeholders instead. So, there is a point where research and evaluation merges. There is a field called evaluation research, and you will immerse yourself in that topic for your evaluation research critique assignment, which is due in week 2. Evaluation research is whenever researchers do research on evaluation. All right, our last topic for this micro lecture is types of scientific inquiry. And what I'm going to talk about is how there are different types of inquiry to address different questions or to help us meet different information needs. So, like we talked about in the last slide, research seeks to answer questions to generate new knowledge, whereas evaluation is more practical. And there are different types of evaluation based on the types of questions that you come up with. So we can have developmental evaluation, which is ongoing, and when stakeholders use data to drive their decision making, but it's more of an ongoing process. Monitoring and performance measurement. This is, whenever we are really focused on the indicators of are we doing the things that we said we're going to do. So counting things, counting how many clients we see, how many hours of services we provide. Process evaluation or formative evaluation is um, a little more exploratory in answering those questions about whether an agency or a program is meeting its goals in terms of short term outcomes. Then, impact evaluation, or sometimes called summative evaluation, is the type of evaluation that focuses on long term outcomes of a program. So, you will see these different words come up in throughout the course. Um, this is, to give you an overview. We're going to be going into more detail about these types of evaluation throughout the course. But this is to give you the big picture of the different types of evaluation.